Hello friends, Disclosure Artist here, and today I'm going to discuss one of the most striking occurrences ever to happen to me, and it is as such. I believe that I bared witness to a covert operation. I don't know whether this was entirely human or not, but there are a few details that stand out in my mind that would suggest that it wasn't your run-of-the-mill. Um, Anyway, so basically, again, I'm driving. This is after a long day of discussing, working, taking people from A to B, and utilizing those opportunities. And if I'm not mistaken, my phone was dead at the time, and I was using just my own ability to navigate from where I was to where I was heading, which was home. It was late at night. It was somewhere between 11 o'clock at night and 1 o'clock in the morning. And I was coming down a hill when I spotted a white figure at the bottom of the hill in a crouching position. They definitely looked as though they were trying to evade being seen. So this immediately sparked my interest. I then proceeded on down the hill where I could see the person was about, if it was a person, the figure was about 3 to 4 feet tall. I'd say closer to 4 feet tall. Um, They appeared at the time to be wearing an astronaut outfit. This is in the month of September, so it didn't really make sense to be wearing a Halloween costume at this time. This is what I originally suspected that it might have been. I later figured out that it was more than likely a hazmat suit, fitted for a very small person. And because they had a breathing apparatus on the back and everything, the whole gambit. So they crossed the street. I then finished coming down the hill and I pulled left and I pulled my car over to the side of the road and I swung my head out the rear window and just observed. And what I saw next was continuing to startle me in the moment. And I saw this small white figure make their way up a telephone pole, and I saw them blow torching something. I I saw sparks shooting out, so I knew that they were doing some sort of welding. Um, this lasted for about 45 seconds until they made their way back down the pole very, very swiftly, and they then ran again perpendicular, um, parallel to where they just had been, across another street and got into a civilian vehicle. Now, at this point, I turn my car back around as I see they're getting into a car. They are now in a car which is parked in a gas station. I then pull my car into that gas station right up next to the car that this figure got into. The car is filled with, it was a pickup truck, van looking vehicle, and because I could see there was 3 or 4 other people in the car. These individuals were dressed in civilian clothing. The guy behind the wheel, if I recall, had a scruffy looking beard and a sleeveless shirt on. So I mean, he could have been you, me, anybody. But the strange thing about it is that when I came within proximity of their vehicle and I looked at them so as to say, I saw what you did, you know, I know what's going on, even though I really didn't. It's just I'm the only other person here. There's no other cars on the road, and well, I saw you, and you obviously are doing something that you don't want other people to see. All 4 or 5 heads in that vehicle looked at me like this. They turned in synchronous, as if they were just connected to one consciousness, and they all just looked at me like this, silently. Is the eeriest thing I've ever seen. Okay, so if that wasn't weird enough, they then pull an illegal turn across the street, and kind of move out of sight, just around the corner, not far enough away for them to get away. I pulled a U-turn in the gas station and came right after them. There was no other cars on the road. I just wanted to see where they were going to go. As soon as I got onto the road they had just turned onto, they had vanished completely. They disappeared completely from sight. Now, either they sped off very, very high rate of speed into um, a side alley, but I didn't hear any screeching tires and I didn't hear any revving of the engine. All I saw was a completely empty road once I proceeded to follow them. So, yeah, you could say, somebody was meddling with our power lines or telephone poles. I'm not really sure. To me, it suggests that perhaps there's advanced technology hiding in plain sight, masquerading as obsolete technology. Your guess is as good as mine. Um, from the 5G towers to the scalar imphotometry to the EMF devices that we have, um, the fields that are being emitted, how they affect human consciousness. Um, from what I understand, our cell phones have enough power in them alone to affect our mood from 30 feet away. So I think that perhaps what I saw was suggesting that there's a little bit more going on than meets the eye. Um, but what I saw is what I saw. You combine the fact that the person was, I mean, you could say that it was a maintenance worker who was just doing their job, but let's look at the facts. It was the middle of the night. The person was attempting to hide. Uh, you could tell from their body language they were hiding behind the poles every time I turned around to look at them. Perhaps, hiding from cameras, who knows. Uh, the stature of the person was strikingly small. The fact that they got into a civilian unmarked vehicle, also another point to acknowledge, and the fact that the vehicle completely disappeared from sight. Um, and of course, the people looking at me like they were from another planet. Combine all those things together, and it's a strikingly strange situation. I think it's significant enough to include within my story of disclosure. All right, guys, stay well. Until next time, take care.